Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like something was quietly slipping away, not in a dramatic, obvious way, but gradually, almost without noticing? Perhaps your mornings feel heavier, your energy not quite what it used to be, and there's this silent question lingering in the back of your mind. Is this just what getting older feels like? You try to brush it off. You tell yourself it's normal, that every man goes through this eventually, that the fading interest in sex, the disconnection from intimacy, the loss of desire, is simply the natural order of things. But what if it's not? What if the idea that sex no longer matters after a certain age is not only outdated, but dangerous? What if stepping away from physical intimacy isn't just a personal choice, but a silent surrender that affects far more than most men realize? Because the truth is, intimacy isn't just about sex. It's about health. It's about identity. It's about staying alive in the deepest sense, mentally, emotionally, hormonally, even spiritually. As the years pass, many men begin to lose connection, not only with their partners, but with themselves. They stop feeling wanted. They stop feeling confident. They stop feeling like men. And behind that quiet resignation is a heavy price, one that touches everything from the heart to the brain, from sleep to self-worth. Most won't talk about it. Some won't even admit it. But the cost is real. And if you've ever felt that you're slowly becoming invisible, losing strength, or simply existing rather than living, this conversation is for you. Today, we're going to uncover what truly happens to a man's body, mind, and relationships when sex is no longer part of life. But more importantly, we'll explore what can be done, naturally, simply, and without shame, to reconnect with the part of you that still wants to thrive. Because the truth is, that part of you is still there, and it's waiting to be remembered. I'm Dr. Martin Hale, a men's vitality specialist with over 25 years of experience helping men in their 50s, 60s, and beyond reclaim their strength, restore their confidence, and reconnect with their deepest sense of self. And what I've discovered, through science, experience, and thousands of conversations, is that the loss of intimacy is not just emotional, it's physiological, and it's reversible. You don't need chemicals, surgeries, or a time machine. What you need is clarity about what's truly happening when intimacy disappears from your life, and the simple, natural steps you can take to reverse the decline. Because yes, there are practical, science-backed strategies that can help you reclaim your confidence, reconnect with your body, and rebuild the foundation of health and connection, often faster than you imagine. Picture waking up with more energy, feeling more connected to your partner or to yourself, moving through your day with quiet strength, deeper calm, and a sense that you're not just aging, you're becoming stronger, wiser, more grounded. This is possible, even if you're 60, 70, or beyond. Even if it's been years. Even if you've tried and failed before. Because this isn't about becoming young again. It's about becoming yourself again. In this video, I'll walk you through 8 silent but powerful ways that the absence of sex can affect your body and mind, and exactly what you can do to reclaim what may have been quietly slipping away. Stay with me until the end, because truth number 8 might explain symptoms you've felt for years, but never fully understood. Now, before we dive into the real impact that a lack of intimacy can have on your health, your emotions, and your identity as a man, I want to ask you something personal. Have you ever felt a shift inside you? Subtle at first, almost invisible, but undeniable, like something you couldn't name had started to fade, a sense of closeness, confidence, warmth, maybe even your sense of purpose. You see, most men don't notice when it begins. They just wake up one day feeling a little less themselves, a little more tired, a little more disconnected from their partner, from their body, from life. And society teaches us to accept that, to stay silent, to believe that this disconnection is just part of getting older. But the truth is, it's not. There are real, measurable changes that happen in your body and mind when intimacy disappears. And they're not just emotional, they're biological, neurological, hormonal, systemic. And that's exactly why we need to talk about this. Because once you understand what's really happening, you can start to take it back. Not with medication, not with guilt, not with pretending you're 25 again, but with simple, natural, powerful reconnection to yourself, to your health, and to the life you still deserve to live. 1. Cardiovascular health begins to decline. Sex is often dismissed as a luxury in older age, but in reality, it functions as a deeply restorative cardiovascular practice. When you're physically intimate, your body experiences a natural increase in heart rate, improved circulation, and enhanced oxygen delivery to tissues. It's not just about the act. It's about what happens inside. Your blood vessels expand, your vascular system responds, and your heart performs in ways that strengthen it over time. Regular intimacy stimulates nitric oxide production, which relaxes the arteries and lowers blood pressure. Over time, this helps maintain arterial elasticity and reduces the risk of plaque buildup, a silent enemy of aging men. When sex is removed from your life, this cycle of healthy stimulation stops. The heart becomes more vulnerable to stress, inflammation rises, and blood pressure control becomes more erratic. You may not notice it right away, but the absence of this natural regulation sets the stage for cardiovascular decline, quietly, slowly, persistently. 2. Muscle tone and joint flexibility weaken. Sexual intimacy isn't just emotionally nourishing, it's physically activating. During intimacy, the body engages multiple muscle groups. The core stabilizes, the legs support, the glutes and hips coordinate movement, and the arms balance posture. Even subtle forms of touch, pressure, and motion activate your neuromuscular system in ways that most daily activities do not. For older adults, this kind of movement plays a critical role in preserving strength, mobility, and independence. It improves proprioception, enhances joint lubrication through movement, and encourages natural hormone release, like testosterone and growth hormone, that help sustain muscle tone and bone density. When physical intimacy disappears, so does this powerful form of movement therapy. Over time, your muscles begin to weaken, your joints stiffen, and your range of motion narrows. Everyday activities like bending, reaching, or getting up from a chair may start to feel harder, not because you're old, but because your body is no longer receiving the stimulation it once did. And as strength fades, so does confidence, both in your body and in yourself. 3. Brain function suffers. Your brain isn't separate from your intimate life. It's central to it. In fact, sexual activity is one of the most neurologically engaging experiences the human body can have. When you're intimate, the brain lights up with a cascade of neurochemicals: dopamine, which fuels motivation and pleasure; oxytocin, which builds trust and emotional bonding; and endorphins, which relieve pain and reduce anxiety. Together, these chemicals support cognitive resilience. They sharpen focus, improve memory, and act as natural antidepressants. They lower cortisol levels, calm the nervous system, and help maintain neural plasticity, the brain's ability to adapt, heal, and form new connections. When sex disappears, the brain loses one of its most powerful sources of stimulation and protection. Slowly, you may begin to feel more distracted, forgetful, or mentally fatigued. Your thinking becomes slower, your creativity fades, and your ability to feel emotionally uplifted narrows. The tragedy is that most men think this is just normal aging, when in fact it's a neurological response to disconnection. Your brain doesn't want less. It wants more stimulation, more connection, more meaning, and sex is one of its most natural ways to receive that. 4. Emotional intimacy breaks down. Beyond biology, sex is a language, a sacred silent communication that says, I see you, I choose you, I want to feel close to you. When that language disappears, the emotional distance begins to grow. Many long-term partners become emotionally estranged without realizing it. Conversations turn into logistics, affection turns into habit, romance fades into obligation, and somewhere along the way, the connection that once lit up your shared life quietly dims. Emotional intimacy thrives on closeness, eye contact, warmth, laughter, vulnerability. Sex, even in its gentlest forms, reinforces all of these. It softens conflict. It builds trust. It makes you feel seen, not just physically, but spiritually. Without it, couples often start to drift. You may still love each other deeply, but without that sacred bond, the relationship begins to feel like a routine. The silence becomes louder, and loneliness, even in a shared bed, becomes more painful than being alone. Emotional disconnection is not a symptom of aging. It's a symptom of neglecting the bond that intimacy sustains. 5. Sleep becomes more difficult. One of the most underappreciated effects of regular sexual intimacy is its ability to regulate sleep. After orgasm, the body naturally releases prolactin, a hormone associated with relaxation, satisfaction, and sleep initiation. Simultaneously, oxytocin levels rise, reducing anxiety and lowering cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone. This combination sets the stage for deep, restorative sleep, the kind that leaves you refreshed, balanced, and alert the next day. Without intimacy, that hormonal cascade never happens. The body remains slightly tense, the nervous system slightly activated. You may fall asleep out of exhaustion, but you wake during the night. Your sleep becomes lighter, more fragmented. Your brain never fully drops into the deep stages needed for cognitive and immune repair. Over time, this leads to chronic fatigue, memory lapses, mood instability, and a sense of physical depletion that no amount of caffeine or supplements can fix. And yet, the solution is one of the most natural and enjoyable experiences available to you. Sleep, like health, begins in connection. And when intimacy is missing, the body remembers and suffers. 6. Self-esteem and masculine identity erode. Masculinity is not defined by performance, but by presence. Still, many men tie their sense of worth to being desired, to feeling capable, to knowing that they still matter, not just in their careers, but in their relationships and personal lives. When sexual intimacy disappears, that inner sense of masculine energy often fades with it. You stop initiating touch. You avoid vulnerability. You hesitate to express affection, not because you don't care, but because you feel disconnected from your own value. This can manifest subtly. You stop looking in the mirror. You slouch. You withdraw from social interactions. You start to feel invisible, not only to others, but to yourself. Sexual connection, even gentle and infrequent, acts as a mirror. It reflects back your desirability, your vitality, your worth. It reminds you that you're still powerful, still capable of giving and receiving pleasure, still alive in every sense of the word. Without it, that reflection vanishes, and with it, the quiet belief that you are still a man in full. 7. Immune function weakens. Your immune system is a finely tuned network, constantly responding to your environment, including your emotions, stress levels, and hormonal balance. Regular sexual activity boosts immunoglobulin A, IgA, an antibody that plays a critical role in defending against viruses, bacteria, and inflammation. It also modulates immune cytokines, reduces chronic stress, and improves hormonal rhythms, all of which keep your body resilient, especially as you age. When intimacy fades, this immune optimization begins to unravel. Inflammation may increase. Recovery from illness slows. You may experience more frequent infections, prolonged fatigue, or vague symptoms with no clear cause. Most men attribute these issues to getting older, but much of it can be traced to a simple lack of physiological activation. Intimacy is a biological booster, free, immediate, and powerful. When the body goes too long without it, the immune system doesn't just weaken, it forgets how to respond efficiently. That's the cost of disconnection. But the good news is, it's never too late to restore it. 8. Stress and anxiety increase. As life becomes more complex with age, family changes, health concerns, financial pressure, the body's exposure to chronic stress rises. One of the most effective antidotes to this stress is sexual intimacy. During sex, the body floods with serotonin, oxytocin, and dopamine, neurochemicals that reduce fear, calm the nervous system, and create a sense of safety and bonding. These aren't just feel-good hormones. They are deeply therapeutic. They balance your mood, stabilize your thoughts, and help you process emotional overwhelm. When intimacy disappears, the stress accumulates without release. You may feel more irritable, more reactive, more prone to tension headaches, insomnia, or emotional withdrawal. Over time, that pressure erodes your resilience. Without this natural emotional release valve, even small problems feel heavy. You may withdraw, lash out, or go numb. And because men are often discouraged from speaking openly about emotional distress, the absence of intimacy removes one of the few safe ways they have to release it. Intimacy, in this context, isn't optional. It's medicine. It's emotional regulation. It's survival. All of these effects are real, and all of them are reversible. You don't need a prescription. You don't need to force anything. What you need is awareness and the courage to reconnect with what your body and mind are still capable of. Start small. Rebuild gently. Maybe it's a conversation, a shared moment, a longer hug, or simply reconnecting with yourself, your breath, your desires, your emotions. These are not grand gestures. They are small doors back to vitality. Change won't happen overnight, but soon you'll feel it. A little more presence, a bit more peace, perhaps even a new sense of strength. Those are the signs that your body remembers, that it's healing, that you're coming back to life. Before we finish, I want you to know that growing older doesn't mean disappearing. It doesn't mean giving up on connection, on desire, or on yourself. What it means is entering a new chapter, one that's richer, deeper, and more grounded in who you truly are. You don't lose your worth with age. You don't stop being a man when the world gets quieter around you. That quiet can be the space where something more powerful begins. Because intimacy isn't just about what happens in the bedroom. It's about how you carry yourself in the world, how you feel when you look in the mirror, how you show up in your relationships, and how deeply you choose to live. Maybe there were years when you felt disconnected. Maybe you forgot what it meant to feel fully alive, to feel wanted, to feel clear in your purpose. But that doesn't mean it's gone. It just means it's been waiting for you to return. There's nothing wrong with starting small. Nothing wrong with being uncertain. All that matters is that you start. A gentle touch, an honest word, a quiet moment of reflection. That's how strength returns, not in a rush, but in layers. You rebuild yourself not by force, but by remembering what you were always capable of. So if something in this message reached you, just type yes in the comments. Let that be your first step. And if you're ready to go further, to reconnect more deeply with your health, your energy, and your masculinity, hit subscribe and stay with us. Because this isn't about chasing youth. It's about honoring who you are now. It's about showing up fully for the life that's still unfolding. And believe me, your most meaningful years may not be behind you. They may be just beginning.